We're here today with Lynn Chronister, who is the Vice President for Research and Economic Development at the University of South Alabama. Lynn, let me just first of all say thank you. Thank you for spending some time with us today. Thank you for allowing us to share your story with Alabama. And congratulations on behalf of the entire Yellowhammer team being named a Woman of Impact.
Thank you.
So it sounds like that you have just stumbled upon the field of research administration. What do you find most rewarding about your profession?
There are so many things rewarding about being a research administrator. It's really hard to limit it to the most, but it very likely is being able to interact with faculty, with researchers. These are brilliant people, and they create new technologies, they have new discoveries, they may discover a new drug or even a new civilization. And the fun part about it is they love to share that information and to push it out to the world. So every single day I get to talk to these brilliant people and I get to learn new things. And there just aren't many professions, maybe yours as well, where you actually get to learn new things every day. It is incredibly fascinating.
So under your leadership, the university has reached record level funding. You guys have seen just exciting year over year growth. But just to kind of give us a little bit of an idea of scope, like you mentioned, what variety or type of research projects might you all be administering?
Anything you can think of, we probably have some involvement with one of our faculty, or many of our faculty, and certainly our graduate students as well as our undergraduate students. So the university over the past few years, and I wish I could take credit for the growth, but I am just, a piece of the picture. And if you look around campus, we have a lung biology program that has been funded by the National Institutes of Health at a very high level for many, many years. The reason they continue to fund it is because of the research that comes out of that group that will help solve diseases, lung diseases, and develop new cures. So that's one. In medicine, we have incredible oncology researchers finding new solutions and detections for cancer. Another area, and if you look at our geography, the next couple of areas make a lot of sense. Our marine sciences program, it's just a graduate program. We don't have an undergraduate program, but it's one of our most vibrant research programs that are in our College of Arts and Sciences. And if you look around Alabama, football is the most important thing to discuss. However, second to football is probably red snapper fishing. And our researchers are very, very versed in the habitats for red snappers. And so they're looked at as national experts in red snapper fisheries. Another area is one that's a little bit esoteric. It's called Ionic liquid research. And I know it's a bit esoteric, but it has impacts on so many, or can have impacts on so many areas. And there's salts, and it's very technical. But one of the projects that is so much fun is they are looking at carbon dioxide scrubbers, developing a new technology for the International Space Station. And so that's pretty exciting as well. And then another engineering project is we are developing new materials that potentially will be used in airplanes, ships, and actually golf clubs as well. And it's a new family of carbon nanofiber materials. So that's pretty exciting. And as all of us know, every single person in the world, I think, is affected by cyber attacks. And so we have a very large group of faculty who are doing digital forensics and looking at how to prevent or reduce those cyber attacks. So those are some of the science areas. And in arts and humanities, we have so many incredible scholars. We have one faculty, Dr. Leslie Gregorica, who's an archaeologist. And there used to be a television show called Bones. Well, that's what she does. And she actually volunteers for the Mobile Police Department to look at bones to help solve murders. And she's actually a humanist, not a social scientist, really. And then overlaid over all of that is we have so many faculty who are really trying to promote and support our students as they prepare for STEM careers. It's the future, and so it's absolutely critical that we do that. And so that's just a few of the highlights. I can go on for a long time, so I won't.
Well, it is. I mean, the scope is just so substantial.
Oh,
And because of that, because you all are constantly involved in such a variety of disciplines and industries, and you know, you're just running the gamut here. How important is diversity in the world of research?
oh, it's absolutely critical. Uh, there was a study many, many years ago, well, not that many, 10, that showed that if you have diversity in a laboratory, if you start a new, just as an example, if you started a new laboratory and made it a very diverse workforce, initially production is lower, productivity is a little low. However, after a very short period of time, when people actually get to know and understand each other, productivity is much higher than if you have an homogeneous laboratory. And so you've got to have the diversity if you're going to grow and really develop those new technologies and uncover those new discoveries.
You've written that to be a successful research administrator, you have to be a change agent. What do you mean by that?
Well, I mentioned that research is all about change. I mean, if you're doing research and you don't come up with something at some point, then it's not really research. So what I get to do is facilitate all of those incredible change agents all over the campus, and sometimes in our collaborations with industry and with other universities as well. And so I get to facilitate all that. And one of the ways that we do that is to make sure that our infrastructure and our support structures are in place so that faculty can be productive and faculty can be change agents. So in our own way, we have to change the infrastructure on campus to support them. And then we get to support all of these incredible people who are changing the world at some point. And if nothing's happened, then they should fire me.
It's a pretty good standard. um, During your career, and you know, you've worked all over the country, education in Vermont, you've been in Washington State, California, Utah. What unique qualities do you find about Alabama, and what made it feel like coming home?
So I did mention that I had lived here before, and I've been at the University of South Alabama previously. It was 30 years ago or 25 years ago. But I'm going to give you a story to show you why Alabama is so special. So if you're in the West Coast, one of the things that you don't do when you walk down the hall or walk down the street or get in an elevator is eye contact with people. It's just not part of that culture. So when I came back here, you know, I'd been on the West Coast for a long time. I walked down the hall and people are saying, "Hey," and you know, I didn't know who they were. And I drive through my neighborhood and people are waving at me. I don't know who they are. It doesn't matter. And that's Alabama.
you have a picture on your wall from the Story People series.
Mhm.
Tell us about that.
In fact, I can show you if you like. But I was introduced to the Story People probably, I don't know, 20 or 25 years ago. I can't remember how long. The author of them, the creator of the Story People series, is Brian Andreas. And he has these sayings that he then puts graphics with that they are just so on point. And my absolute favorite is, not everyone realizes that we have angels on our shoulder that make sure that we're not comfortable and fall asleep and miss our life. And that has spoken to me for as long as I've known about the saying. And it is so important not to ever get comfortable, because you don't change, you don't grow if you're comfortable. And so it keeps you alive and keeps you moving forward. So I love it. And I jokingly say that how many other professions can you find that you love, even if it keeps you uncomfortable and awake?
Hmm. So, are there any guiding principles that you've adhered to throughout your career and you would consider to be instrumental in your success?
Yes, there definitely are. One of the really important things is communication and to be transparent. Now, we can't always be transparent because we do understand and we do know and have access to confidential information. But to the degree that we are able, it is absolutely important for our faculty and our staff and the community to understand what we're doing. Research to a layperson is, what are they doing in that laboratory? And so it's important to communicate to the public what we're doing in those laboratories, that it may not affect their lives in the next year or 5 years, but 10 years from now it may. So that's important. It's also important to be transparent and to communicate with our faculty so that they understand that there are parameters within which they have to operate. The federal government has a lot of rules, and most of them, maybe not all, but most of them make a lot of sense. But there are so many that it's important for us to give them that framework so that they understand what is possible. And then we also want to communicate to them opportunities for them to find funding, because research doesn't happen generally. Sometimes it does, but generally it doesn't happen unless somebody is supporting it. Most states don't have the resources to put in millions and millions and millions of dollars into university or industrial research. And so it's a collective effort between the federal government, the state, industry, and not-for-profit organizations. So making that information about where funding is available and assist them in finding that funding is absolutely a top objective of mine. And then another one is you actually have to be persistent. Um, Research doesn't happen overnight. It is trial and error. And usually it's error until you find the solution, and then it's eureka. And so you have to stick with those faculty and those projects until they get to that point where it's eureka. And then actually you can't let go, because then there are possibilities that if it's going to be an important discovery, it may need to be actually commercialized. And so we need to work with them to find a commercial entity that wants to take it and run with it and improve the quality of life potentially. And so those goals are absolutely, absolutely important. Those are my two primary.
Mhm. Last question. What advice would you have for a young person, a young female, who is seeking to enter your field or who might be in the beginning of their career?
Well, if they already have decided on research administration, I would say congratulations, you're in an incredible profession that you will love, probably. Someone who is in research administration actually needs to be able to accept vicarious rewards. I get so excited when one of our faculty gets an award. I take it personally. I shouldn't, because I probably had nothing to do with it. but I'm really excited for them. So you have to be able to accept vicarious reward. So if you're in the profession, the main thing that I would say is find a mentor, because this isn't a profession where there are 10 of us at any given institution. Well, some of the larger ones, yes, there are 10 of us or more. But on smaller institutions, there are not a lot of us. And so you need a mentor to help you move forward in your career. And I was fortunate enough in my career over a very long few decades to have two really important mentors, and things that they've said to me have stuck with me. One of them, I kind of took offense when they told me this, but they said, and this was when I got my first management position, this is the first day that you start preparing for your next job, your next position. And I thought, wait a minute, I just got here. That would be horrible for my employer to think I'm looking for another job. Realizing though that what I was being told was, if you're going to do a superb job, you better look forward. And so that has stuck with me, and I have shared it with many, many people. Another one um, was, and this one I sort of took offense with a little bit too. And this mentor said, get over your Midwestern modesty. And, I thought, what? I don't want to be a braggart. And what she was really telling me was, go ahead and take the lead when it's important for you to take the lead. Don't stop and let somebody else do it. Step forward. And I may step forward a little too often on occasion, but that has stuck with me and actually served me quite well. And so my advice to anyone going into a career, probably any career, is move forward and just keep moving forward one step at a time, and to be sure and find a really good mentor or mentors.
That's such great advice. Well, Lynn, it is such a pleasure to speak with you, and we are so honored to have you among the Women of Impact this year. And just thank you for all of your accomplishments and the contributions to the state.
And thank you. I enjoy the work that your organization, that Yellowhammer, does, and I appreciate it. Thank you.